Lena Harper had spent most of her life learning to make herself as small as possible, moving quietly, speaking softly, and avoiding the gaze of men who made her heart race with fear. She had grown up in a home where a man's footsteps meant danger and where silence was the only protection she had. By the time she was 18, she trembled even at the sound of a deep voice, and every time she walked in town, she kept her head down, her hands tucked close to her body, her breath short and careful. After her abusive father was finally arrested, Lena was sent to live with her aunt in the wide, open country of Wyoming, where her aunt believed the fresh air and open fields would heal her. But healing was slow. Lena spent days inside, avoiding the ranch hands, the neighbors, and anyone who reminded her of the past. She spoke little, flinched easily, and trusted no one, least of all men. But everything changed the day her aunt asked her to deliver biscuits to a nearby ranch, Canyon Ridge, owned by a man everyone talked about with admiration, a quiet cowboy named Wyatt Cole. Lena didn't want to go, but refusing her aunt felt worse than facing a stranger. So she wrapped the biscuits and walked the dusty road, her heart pounding hard. When she reached the ranch gates, she froze. A tall cowboy stood by the barn, fixing a saddle, his broad shoulders silhouetted in the sunlight. His hat shaded most of his face, but she could see his jaw, sharp and strong. He turned when he heard her footsteps, and Lena felt fear sweep through her instantly. She almost dropped the basket. "Ma'am." His voice was low, warm, gentle, but to Lena, any male voice felt dangerous. She took a step back without meaning to. Wyatt noticed immediately. He didn't move closer. He didn't gesture. He didn't do anything that might startle her. He simply lowered his gaze, removed his hat, and kept his distance. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "Didn't mean to scare you." Lena swallowed hard, clutching the basket as though it were a shield. "My aunt sent this," she whispered. Wyatt nodded and stepped back 2 paces, creating more space. "You can set it right there on the barrel," he said calmly, pointing but not moving. She did so quickly and stepped back again. Wyatt watched her eyes, not her body, not the basket, but her trembling, fearful eyes, and something inside him softened. He'd seen people hurt before. He recognized fear when he saw it. "Thank you," he said gently. "Tell your aunt I'm grateful." Lena nodded and turned to leave, but she heard him call after her, "And, you're safe here. Just so you know." She didn't reply, but his words stayed with her. Days later, a storm rolled through the countryside, sudden and fierce. Lena had gone to gather laundry from outside when a thunderclap shook the sky, making her stumble backward in terror. Storms reminded her too much of shouting, of doors slamming, of boots stomping toward her. She panicked, ran, and slipped on the wet grass, falling hard and twisting her ankle. She cried out, but the wind swallowed her voice. She tried to stand but couldn't lift her foot. The sky darkened, rain pouring harder. She didn't know how long she lay there before she heard hooves thunder toward her. She froze, terrified. But then she saw the rider dismounting, running toward her through the rain. "Wyatt." "Lena," he called, kneeling beside her. His voice was urgent but soft. "You hurt." She tried to push herself away, fear gripping her like claws, but pain in her ankle forced her still. Wyatt noticed her panic immediately. He raised both hands slowly, palms open, showing he meant no harm. "It's okay," he murmured. "I'm not going to touch you unless you say it's okay. You're hurt. Just tell me what you need." Lena was shivering violently, soaked to the bone. The storm roaring around them. She didn't trust men, but she trusted the storm even less. With a trembling voice, she whispered, "Help, please." That was all. Wyatt carefully slid off his jacket and placed it over her shoulders, not touching her skin. He sat beside her, close enough to shield her from the rain but far enough not to frighten her. "Can you lean on me?" he asked. She swallowed and nodded. Very slowly, giving her time to back away if she needed, he offered his arm. She hesitated, but then leaned into him just enough to be lifted. Wyatt carried her gently, keeping his grip soft, making sure she felt no threat. Even through the fear, Lena felt something strange, safety. He placed her on his horse with the same gentleness, then walked beside her all the way to her aunt's house, leading the horse through the storm. Not once did he let her feel small. Not once did he push conversation on her. He was simply there, steady, quiet, safe. Days turned into weeks. Lena's ankle healed, and Wyatt visited sometimes, never stepping inside unless invited, always knocking lightly, always speaking softly. He brought her books, wildflowers, once even a rescued puppy to cheer her up. He never asked for trust. He waited for it. Slowly, Lena found herself looking forward to his visits. She learned that he lost his parents young, that he built his ranch with his own hands, that he believed in kindness more than strength. One day, while sitting on the porch with her new puppy asleep in her lap, Lena whispered, "I'm not scared when you're around." Wyatt turned to her, his expression gentle. "That means more to me than anything," he said. "But you don't owe me trust. Or conversation. Or anything." She met his eyes, really met them, for the first time. "I know," she said softly. "Maybe that's why I trust you." Wyatt didn't move, didn't smile, didn't startle her by reaching out. But his eyes shone with something warm and patient. "Whenever you're ready," he murmured, "I'm right here." That night, Lena stood at her window, watching the silhouette of his horse disappear into the fading light, and for the first time in her life, she felt something stronger than fear, hope. The first man she ever trusted was a cowboy who knew exactly how to treat a broken heart.